Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope everybody's doing well. I want to wish everyone a happy new year. I hope everyone's taking time to get their physical, mental, spiritual development going. We're well into the new year, in a couple of weeks strong. I just hope everyone enjoyed their holiday and had time to relax, recover, and everybody's back on the grind. Not big on New Year resolutions, but I just hope everyone has some type of short-term or long-term goals in mind, that we're taking time to really work on our development and being better people, being able to reach out more and help others, and being able to do something differently that we did not do last year. For those who continuously tune in, I just want to say thank you. As always, I ask you to share the material. I ask you to spread the word. That's the only request that I have, to get others involved in the community, to get others involved in knowledge, to spread the word, and get others educated. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're building community trust. New content coming out. It's a brand new year, so I got some good ideas, some stuff that's going to change up a little bit. Definitely want to tune in and do some live this year, so I'm going to do some live Facebook videos. I'm still working on my We're Building Community Trust page. I'm going to probably do a short little blip of video to let you know it's ready. It's almost done. And you're able to tune in live on Facebook. If you have any questions or any concerns, anything you want to address, want more interactive engagement this year, of any questions that you may have, or any concerns, or anything, ideas, or anything that you think can change, we can, put out there, so we can get stuff involved with the Congress and get involved with our state and local senates and local councilmen and women. So for those who are new as well, and those who are brand new to the channel, welcome. Firstly, We're Building Community Trust is the name of the site. It's dedicated to those in our communities. It's police reform, it's education ideas to pass on to those, just basic stuff, but definitely dedicating my time and my understanding and knowledge to spread those to those, to help educate those and empower to get out there and get involved. So please, again, www.rebuildingcommunitytrust.org is the site. Please check it out. I did some little designs and changes to the page. Just added a couple more videos and more material. But once this video is uploaded, I'm going to actually redo the page and put some important material in there. Posted a new blog on the church shootings. The church shootings that we've been seeing recently, the up spike in our church shootings. Definitely, we need to pay mind to our places of worship. The blog is going to basically cover on how we need to make sure we protect our churches, the importance of having a plan in place, importance for security, and also the law aspect of it. On certain states, you can't carry weapons. How we get involved without breaking the law at the same time. I know states like Texas and Indiana, they're allowed to carry weapons on church grounds. But states that don't have that law in place, we definitely getting law enforcement involved. How can we educate those to be more vigilant and aware of what's going on around them? So check out the blog. Let me know what you think. Drop some comments. Please, again, interaction is key. I will not know the feedback to make things better or to address any comments and concerns. So please check out the blog and leave a comment below in the comment section. So that's basically citizen review boards were supposed to be the topic. Beginning of the year, that was kind of my plan. However, some stuff came up. Got with some family members and kind of changed the game on me. So they hit me with some stuff. We had a big debate about a couple of things with the prison system. So I said, you know what? I'm going to design a video just for this, so we can get involved, learn just the basic principles, how the prisons work. Because a lot of people have a misunderstanding of how the prison system works, how it ties in with the criminal justice system, and a lot of stuff, misconceptions are out there. So basically, just started off heated debate, some family members over the holidays. And through this forum, I felt a great start to the year with answering all these questions and concerns on the video about this specific topic. Try my best to not make this video too long, but I can't guarantee it because it's a lot of stuff I'm going to cover. So it's going to be a little lengthy, but this is the new year. So I'm going to this is a great topic to start it off. And I want people to really pay attention and spread this stuff because, we get emotional. We sit here and we get in our feelings about a lot of stuff, and we're not taking the time to think and say, okay, take the emotion piece out of it and let's think on a deeper level and understand how this stuff works. So we was talking about Michael Jordan, and how he, I thought at one point in time that he was contributing to the capitalization of prisons and stocks and building more jails. So that's how the debate pretty much started. And from there, it pretty much went from there, and it got turned into a huge debate about prisons and how the affected prison system, that, the violent crimes in the area, and how, the stuff, from Atlanta, so, Decatur area. So basically, there's a lot of people, from what they're telling me, a lot of crimes, a lot of stuff that's really heavy, a lot of violent crimes and domestic crimes, elderly getting attacked, children are getting attacked, stuff with this human trafficking and kids and youth and all this stuff where they're 21 below. They're pretty much on a rampage and attacking everyone. So they're very uptight about it. And it's very, disturbing to hear. I did my digging on Michael Jordan. I want to clear this up, that he is not the one that is doing, that he's not investing in prisons from the research I've done. I always want to clear up stuff if I don't know, I want to go find out. Apparently it was another Michael Jordan, another guy that's named Michael Jordan. I guess he's a lawmaker. He's some type of CEO corporation, and he's the one that's investing in those prisons and investing in the building of jails. Neither here and there. That's how it started. So it started going downhill from there, from where they feel like that, the security of our communities are affected by just getting these individuals that commit these crimes and just toss them in jail, just throw them in jail. They thought, even though if Michael Jordan wasn't investing, but at the time, at the moment of the debate, saying the family members that I was engaging with, they saying it's good that he's building jails and tossing people in there. And I really took a stand and said that, tossing people in prison, and you look at the whole big picture, it's not effective. You know what I'm saying? So this is the part where I went to work on digging up information and just stuff I've seen, and just getting with, certain, key points that I'm going to list and talk about and elaborate on, so people can understand how the criminal justice system works, how important it is to rehabilitate those. First questions that people say, well, if someone commits a murder and it's a family member, that person that was affected by it, they feel in their heart that person can't be rehabilitated. If they do commit heinous crimes and they feel like they can go to bed at night and after committing that crime and they lay down with their family, then they can't be rehabilitated. We don't, what I'm saying, there's so much to it. There's so much deeper rooted issues there that you can't just assume that someone can't be rehabilitated. And also, you can't assume that they can be rehabilitated. So real quick, I'm just going to go over a few key points. First thing I want to jump on is just the pre and post incarceration. You got your purpose of prisons, and then you got your retribution, incapacitation, deterrence, rehabilitation. These are some of the key points. This is how the prison system works. This is the design. When you think of a prison, back in the day, early 1800s, we're going back in the time to create the purpose of prisons. They was there to get obviously those who committed violent offenders, recidivate. I can't pronounce it, but basically, and I'll post it on the page, the actual name. But basically, those who commit crimes, they're going in jail. They're going in jail, and that's the purpose of the jail, is to hold them individuals there, keep them off the streets, keep them away from society, and lock them away. But when you look at as prison systems continue to grow and the things that happen to it, you got to look at these definitions. You got to define everything too. You got to get down and define what did this stuff mean. So you look at retribution, and it's a means of punishment for crimes against society, making them pay debt to society and stripping them of their freedom. You know what I'm saying? So that's retribution. Incapacitation is the removal of criminals from society, so they won't harm innocent civilians. So that's incapacitation. You taking away. So you're cutting that thing down. And that's part of the prison system, is to incapacitate those who commit crimes. Then you got deterrence. Deterrence means prevention of future crimes. Anything deterred or set back, you want to find ways to keep, those individuals or individuals like them to commit those future crimes. And you got rehabilitation, which is activities or programs used to design and change criminals into law-abiding citizens. So this is the biggest thing I was harping on was rehabilitation. That once you look into the prison systems and you see how they're designed, there's programs in place to help, rehabilitate those individuals that are, committing crimes if they can be rehabilitated. And again, nothing's perfect, but this is the programs that we have to keep in place, because once you break it down, it encompasses everything. The cycle of how the criminal justice system work is designed to try to get citizens back on their feet and get them out there, have time to put people in their place to think, okay, this is what I did wrong. Can I fix it? Can I make amends and go back into the world? Like I said, late to 1800s, 19th century, prison was designed to hold inmates who committed crimes and have them work strenuous manual labor. So that's one of the things, chain gangs using those taxpayers' dollars to get those individuals to work and clean up the city, or use them to make society better in reference to what they did to pay off their debt. So if they commit a crime, they're there for certain years. They're there to pay off society in a way of cleaning up building or clean up streets or whatever jobs they have, as a consequence of them committing a crime. We look at the movie Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. That's kind of an example that comes to mind for me, that they're in jail and they're being used for manual labor. Crimes consistently happen from repeated offenders because of the lack of opportunities and management of those who are mentally ill. Rehabilitative efforts were created. So after a while, this thing kept going down. They need to say, let me come up with a way to make this better. Mentally ill, those who have, all types of different mentally ill diseases and stuff like that, they need to come up with a program or come up with ways to help these individuals. Because again, if they got released back out to this world and try to be mix in with society, they're going to 9 times out of 10 commit a crime again if they're not taking the time to rehabilitate. So the theory is just locking them away, and just throwing away the key. Jail. I read an article, and as part of this video, one of it's a psychologist or psychiatrist. They're there and they're saying jail is a violent place. So you just throw someone in there. Jail's not created to make people better. It's going to bring the worst out of a person. And if they're just sitting in there and, even if they're sitting there for life or whatever the case may be, then it's not good for that individual. And, again, we got to take the emotions out of it, because, yes, I understand someone commits a crime and it affects that person. They don't care about that individual that did it. They want them to sit in jail and rot forever. You know what I'm saying? So I understand. I got a personal testimony to attend to about that. So the statistics, U.S. Bureau of Statistics and the DOJ, 2/3 released prisoners are arrested for at least one serious new crime, and more than half are reincarcerated within 3 years of release. Another way to have punitive actions to deter criminals instead of charging them through correctional interventions, you got these programs that are in place, and I'm going to list some of the few of the names. But, there's part of rehabilitation is creating programs, and some of them programs come through funding. So these lawmakers and these congressmen, this is why it's so important to get knowledge and empower yourselves to do the research on your own. To, if you know someone in jail and you're talking with them, engaging with them, find out what programs in there and see if they can get involved. There's educational programs. There's work release programs. There's programs to where they can get the wellness programs. I'm going to go over them. But there are programs for those that are in prison, and that can make them better and not just sit there. So rehabilitation is a part of a piece to help inmates. So do your own research. Don't just go off TV where they just you see jail on TV, because it's a whole different world. And just because you commit a crime, a murder, and I was trying to explain it too, is like it depends on what they do and how the judges see them, when it comes to, going to jail. Everybody who commits a crime, and I'm personal testimony of mine, where someone committed a crime, they didn't get the time that they thought they should got. They got a certain amount of time and then they were released. So just because they commit a crime heavy like that, doesn't mean that, they're going to stay in jail forever anyway. Prisons is big business. It's money. So it's a turn two type of deal. You got so many people in the prisons. You got so many people that are you look at the crimes they commit, and some of them stay longer than others. Some may get life, some may get death penalty, capital punishment. But even then, you're still housed in prisons 2 to 3 years before you even touch down and even get to execution, because it goes through channels and it goes through appeals and they go through different things to where it's a holdup on them getting capital punishment. You know what I'm saying? So it's about money. Everything's about money. It's a big business. Turn two, get this guy in there, get this guy out. The overcrowding doesn't help either. So you got your supermax prisons, you got your county jails, you got all type of versions of prisons. So depending on what the crime has been committed, depends how long they're there. Taxpayers' dollars, all dollars is paying for the prisons. So we need to be even more careful and do our own research. Excuse me. To look into these things and understand why prisons are what they are, and see where our money's going to build these programs. If anything, we need to put more money into these rehabilitative programs and these programs to help those, so when they can come out. Each case is different. Personal experience, my dad, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, I mentioned this, my dad, he was killed. I was at age of 11, drug deal going bad. And the guy that killed him, you know what I'm saying, I thought he got 3 years, but he ended up getting 5 years. I got a little more information, and he had committed some other crime somewhere else, or whatever the case may have been. You know what I'm saying? So, I could understand why a person that will lose someone, whether it's a mother, brother, sister, cousin, whatever relation, friend, whatever relationship that this person is to them, I can understand the emotions part of it. And I can understand, because I was asked, family member asked me, what about your dad? Do you think the killer deserved to get out? And you know what I'm saying? And at that time, it would have been a few years ago, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I would have felt the same way, you know what I'm saying? Where he should be in jail for life, or he should have been taken out and killed, or whatever the case may be. But you understand, when you kill somebody, it's giving them instant gratification. In a way, that's why a lot of these mass shooters, they commit suicide. That's why the suicide rates are so high, because, when people commit these type of crimes that are heinous, rapes or sexual assaults or sexual assault against kids or murders of elderly or whatnot, they can't take it in mentally. So even if they get caught, even if they go to jail, you know what I'm saying, they might get in jail and they might last for a week or two, a month or two, you know what I'm saying, then they may either take themselves out or someone take them out while they're there. So killing someone, to me, is just giving them the instant gratification that they want. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at the situation, I have, the forgiveness in my heart, and that takes maturity. It takes maturity to look at things differently. You know what I'm saying? It takes a little bit more maturity and taking emotions out of it to see the points I'm trying to make. Because if you're looking at the eyes of someone who lost someone to a crime, or it's that person that you see, in court that committed this crime, you're gonna have a different mindset towards it. You're not gonna be able to think clearly and say, okay, this person, you're not gonna have the forgiveness. And in the natural, yes, it's understandable. I was there. I wanted the man dead. I wanted him to sit in jail for 30 years, but he didn't. I don't know if he did a plea bargain and got somebody else on another crime. I don't know. He just served the time served that was given. 5 years, he's out. So in that aspect of things, that theory is debunked, where you sit him in prison. So now what? So what we looking at now? Is he rehabilitated, or is he out there possibly committing another crime that's similar to one that happened to me in my family? So we can't just assume throwing people in jail is going to work. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a personal testimony on how it affected me personally. Understanding, knowing it happened to me, I understand how you feel. People that lose people like that, especially if it's murder or someone's life being violently taken, I can totally understand how they feel. And it took me a minute to get over the fact and have forgiveness and go to God and ask him to take the bitterness, resentment out of my heart, and to look at things in a different perspective. If I see dude today, I will have a different mindset, because I have extended forgiveness to him. Just like Amber Geiger, that case where the young brother hugged her and asked for forgiveness. That took time, that took God. You know what I'm saying? So we got to look at things in the spiritual eye and not in the natural eyes. And that takes maturity to do, because most people can't do that right away, or it takes years for them to understand, to look at things in a different way, that vengeance is the Lord's and not ours. Understanding that, now I can see things with different eyes and see things in different perspective. So when you look at a case like that, you got to explain the criminal justice system how it works. Factors depend on time person receives, dependent on the type of crime. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's felony or misdemeanor, so you got to look at what type of crime it is. A misdemeanor, you're going to get less time or no time. You might get probation. You might get some community service. If felony, you might get the time, but even then, it depends on these factors. The judge going to look at your history, how many times you committed crimes. They're going to look at the factual circumstances, what happened, and if everything's accurate and the evidence is there, forensics and all that stuff to see, okay, this person commit the crime, and you're going to determine if he's remorseful. A lot of judges look at the character of the man. You know what I'm saying? So when they looking at the character of the man, somebody may be more remorseful. That doesn't mean that they still won't get the max sentence. But judges look at these things. Juries look at these things. You know what I'm saying? State legislation, whether the defendant feels remorse. We talked about that. Past criminal records, age, circumstances. We already talked about that, in which the crime was committed. Mitigatory circumstances, which lessens the sentence, depending examples of being an accessory. So, depending on what position the crime took place, who was where is what happened, and the specifics between law enforcement getting their testimony all the way up to the prosecution and to the jury making that verdict and the judge making that final decision. Aggravating circumstances, that's what a judge, looks at things where a more aggressive tone. He might see you as a perpetrator. You the one that started it. You the one that committed the crime. He may give you the max sentence. You know what I'm saying? Depending if a weapon was used, he may give you the max sentence. You have to look at all this stuff. Plea bargain, we talked about that. So plea bargain, if someone, it was a prime, the only example I can think of mine right now is that Triple 6ix9ine guy, the rapper. You know what I'm saying? He plea bargained because he, ratted everybody out. He went and told who was in what. He knew of the crime, so he used others to lessen the sentence. So it could be a plea bargain. It could have happened with my dad's killer. So I don't know the details, but that could be possibly a case where he plea bargained and got less time. He might have got 10 years, but if he committed another crime, he might have cooperated with law enforcement on another crime. He might have knocked it down to 5. He might have did parole and he got on good behavior. It's just a lot of things people don't understand why so many people get out, they have the time sentences that they have. So you just got to look at everything, the big picture, look at the case specifically and see what the judge decided upon. And then you determine what, how much time they get. Rehabilitation, you got education, we talked about that before, employment, rehabilitative counseling, wellness rehabilitation, community rehabilitation. And, I did some pulling up on the internet, and some of the things that I saw, when it comes to education programs, Obama signed a law for Pell Grants for those who are in prison. They want to pursue their education endeavors, get their degrees. And that's one rehabilitative term because once the more knowledge and the more, background, they are set up for success. So education is one of the biggest ones that a lot of people do. And they go and use the Pell Grants and they go to college and they get their degrees. They use the time that's in there. If you got 10 years, why not get something out of it? The employment rehabilitation, that's your jobs. So your prison work program. So you got, if you're in there, you're getting your school done and you're getting your work doing work programs, they got the funding available depending on where you're in jail at, then you can go and use those programs to go and get jobs. Because that's one of the biggest things that inmates are having problems with as a felon. They come out of prison, they don't have no type of work for them. A lot of people won't hire felons, because of the background, the trust. They have to build that trust. So that trust is not there with most people. So they won't even hire felons to work. Even so, I did a Vlad TV interview with one of the basketball players that went to jail for shooting some guy by accident. And he got out. He couldn't even get an apartment in his name because he was a felon. Excuse me. So you have to look at everything, the programs that are in place. And it's hard for felons. So a lot of times, if you can't provide for your family, if you come out with a clear mind and you get out in these streets and there's no opportunities for you to make money or provide a living for yourself or for family, whatever the case may be, or if you don't know someone that's willing to take a chance and give you a job under the table, what you think you're going to go back and do? You're going to go back and commit another crime. That the chances of a crime committed, 43%. Going back into committing a crime and going right back as a repeat offender. And say, so, if you got somebody commit a heinous crime and they do 10 years and they come out with a clean head or not with a clean head, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go back and do the same thing again. You know what I'm saying? So the consequences keep stacking up. So that's why we have to keep things in place, to give opportunities, to give them a chance to try to present them the chance to get better. The counseling piece right here is a vocational, academic, social, personal. These inmates, they got these counselors and psychiatrists and psychologists. They get in there to try to help their mental illnesses. They try to get medicine. They try to talk to them. Granted, we won't be realistic that some of these prisons don't maybe have 2 or 3, and they got an overpopulated area where they try to get the help. And then depending on how the type of person it is that's in there, they want the help. If the help, they don't think it's worth going to counseling and therapy. So it's a small piece at a time, with that. And then you have, you got your chaplains, counselors. They visit prisons and provide counseling services. They try to look at where their mental state, and they try to be there for them and support them through support groups, through therapy. They try to talk to the issues. Why did they commit the crimes? What kind of life background do they have? All that stuff is counseling. And those who take advantage of it can help them rehabilitate. You got your wellness rehabilitation. That's classes, gardening, culinary, dog training, different little hobbies and stuff to get them wellness, exercise, meditation techniques, yoga, church, tai chi, meditation, stress and anger management. All these things are there available for these programs if the fund is available to help those get rehabilitated and provide them tools for success. So if they're in there for life, they can even take advantage of it. But if they're there for a short period of time, they can get those skills to help them move forward. Then you got your last section, your community rehabilitation. This is for those who throughout inmates' life, they have left the system. They're going back in society. So you got your church, volunteering, social groups, group therapy. That's what halfway houses, some of these programs, probation. I'm going to say probation is something else. Is accountability with probation. But these group volunteer church and stuff like that, these are groups that are coming out to help these individuals integrate. I know in my last church, we did a prison ministry, and they would go and interview for jobs. They would do mock interviews. They would provide them. We would get any old clothes, whether it's female dresses or old suits, and we would donate to the prison ministry so we can get those guys jobs. And some of the people that we plugged into, some of the employers, they would go interview these guys, and their qualifications fit. They would go and hire them. And even another section where I know for veterans they did it, but I know some of the Congress and president, I don't know if it was Obama, somebody signed off to where if you hire felons and veterans, you get a tax break. So those kind of gave people jobs. So there's programs out there. We just got to look into it. Nothing's perfect. You got to understand that the system is designed to incapacitate and punish. That's the sole purpose of a prison. It's to incapacitate and punish. Punish those who've done wrong and incapacitate them from doing it again. And then the second piece, the surrounding piece, is the rehabilitation. There's reform in the jails. There's I read articles where, and I can post some of this stuff on the page if you want to check it out. There's articles on there where former inmates, they will go out and they see the system broken, and they turn around, they create businesses, they create nonprofit organizations to help these inmates and educate them, educate the world too, and advocate to get laws passed to help, individuals that's in prisons to come out rehabilitated. Again, nothing's perfect. And I try to explain this to my family members. Nothing's perfect. And they ask me the answer. What is the answer to the problem? If you can't just toss people in jails, what is the answer? To fix the problem. And the answer is just, you got to focus on, again, maturity. You got to focus on one person at a time. You cannot save everybody. That's in anything that we do. You can't save people out in the street. You can't save everybody. You can't save everyone. So those who commit crimes, especially if they're heinous crimes, again, like I said before, I understand that, the hatred and the anger and the bitterness and the resentment that you have for that individual. I had it. I had it for a long time. But it's only going to take maturity and learn to heal from that to understand the point I'm coming from, where each person is redeemable, and we have to take the time to help whoever can help. That one individual turns their life around using these rehabilitative tactics, going out there and making an interest in society. It's well worth it. I think it's worth it that one person turn their life around, because they may see the error of their ways, and they may go out there and they may turn the world upside down in any form and maybe prevent others from making the same mistake. It's worth that one person. You know what I'm saying? Whether some people are mentally ill and they can't be helped, there's possibilities. There's some people that commit crimes, they have no remorse, they don't want help, and they want to they'll take the L and sit in jail, or they'll try to do other ways to make the process worse. And those individuals get exactly what they need just by sitting in prison, or capital punishment if they depending on what they do. But for everyone that commit crimes, especially the youth, I know a lot of youth is killing crimes and committing crimes and killing people and murder and stuff in Chicago. She mentioned Chicago, and they mentioned, everywhere where youth is doing a lot of attacks. There's deeper root issues there. People understand that the youth it's a target. You know what I'm saying? It's a target that the youth is being, they're being targeted because of the age. They still learning. So if you into everything from the media to, relationships, to past hurts, to deep-rooted issues from wherever upbringings. Some people have been molested. Some people are sexually assaulted. Some people have been, abused. That stuff creates stuff inside you, and they feel like, that they have to go out here and commit these crimes and do the things that they do. So you have to be mindful of that when you're thinking about the youth and how can we help them. And this goes back to other videos I've done in the past where, we need to create community organizations outside of the prisons, community organizations that's going to help our youth mature, mentor, and get them in the right path, and try to help them develop their minds so they won't go out here and commit these crimes. The lack of fathers in the home, or if their fathers are there, they're not taking the time to mentor and groom your children. That's a big role, especially with males. The less the male mentorship is, whether it's through their father or community organization, then the chances are higher that they're going to go out here and commit these type of crimes because they don't have the positive influence around them to help them, develop who they need to be. And they're going to get mixed with the wrong crowd, and they're going to fall into these traps, and they're going to start doing stuff such as beating up old ladies or whatever. It's just dependent. It's the upbringing. So you got to look at the deep rooted issues and think, why is this happening? You got to look past. You got to think below the surface. Don't just think surface level about everything. Think below the surface and understand why stuff is happening. And then, if you have ability to do something about it, do something about it. Educate, talk to the youth, go to these places and educate them and try to help them. And again, you got to keep the mindset that you can't help everybody. The people you can help, those it's worth it. Help the youth outside so they won't commit the crimes on the inside. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you beat it. It's like the concept, it's a whole village trying to raise a child. Everybody got to pitch in. Everybody got to take the time to get out there. You can't just say, oh, he committed a crime. You don't do nothing about it, then you're going to have crimes being committed. Crimes are always going to be there. People, you're going to do it. You're going to keep tossing these folks and throw them in jail. And the jail turn two, they come right back out and do it again if they don't take the time to rehabilitate. Because you can't expect the jails to do everything right either, because it's a business. Some of the worst prison systems and jails, they may not be doing all this stuff that I'm saying. Rehabilitating. They may not have the money to do it. They may not have the support and the backing to do it. So a lot of times they just let people fall to the wayside, and they can help who they can help or do what they can do. They don't have the manning. They don't have the support. And these people sit in these shit jails, and they get worse and worse. And they come out and either they commit crimes, or they commit suicide, or they go to drugs, or they go to alcohol, and it just the cycle keeps repeating itself. And they keep going back to jail, and they keep going back to jail. And the community it's a big deal because the community is affected by it. This is why I say just throwing away the key ain't the answer. It's the answer in some cases, but not the answer for the whole entire factor of jails. People, we all need to get involved. We all need to advocate. We all need to go and try to find ways and ideas and programs to continue to help those who's in prisons and help those who's outside that's a risk for going to prison. Everybody need to do their part. Me included. Everybody got to do their part. We all got to pitch in to help. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter about race. It don't matter about community, socioeconomic status. It matters that we all have to pitch in as a society to look at people and help them the best that you can. And people that cannot be helped, then they need to go to prison. We try to rehabilitate, and they can't be rehabilitated, then the consequences are what they are. And at that point, they're there, and they're going to be there. If they get out, we got to continue to keep an eye on them and make sure that they don't commit another crime. If they go back, then by that time, they might stay there for longer than they were stayed in. So that's kind of my take on this. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's a good debate, and I appreciate it because this is the kind of stuff I want people to be challenged. I want perspectives to be challenged. I want people to understand that this is real. This is serious. And we need to challenge our thinking and critical think about everything. You know what I'm saying? So when, these topics come up, we can create ideas. This is something we can bring to our lawyers, and not lawyers, our Congress people, our council people, our state representatives. We can bring it to our whoever you can bring it to, and see we can come up with ideas and churches and everything that can involve prison ministry. This is stuff that we can talk about in prison ministry. We can talk to the people on the outside. This is a good ministerial topic to bring up to churches. So when people are educated on stuff like this, they know how to minister to those in prison. They know how to try to be there for them in a better way. So when they come out of the prison system, they can also spread the word to others, reach back into their realm of influence and go back to their communities and take this information and spread it over to the people that's going to be a risk of doing the same thing that they did. And then hopefully they can curtail this from ever happening to others. That's how it's going to beat this. Everybody pitching in from in jail. If you did it and been there and done that, you should be pitching in to help those who's in risk. Everybody should be pitching in, trying to educate and advocate for people. That's how this is going to be beat. Throw them in prison and all that other stuff, just saying, oh, I ain't got no responsibility, or I'm not going to say nothing, or I'm just going to throw them in jail. Again, you only can do so much, but it's still worth the effort. And that's just why I do what I do, because I care enough to make effort, especially when I dealt with this personally. So please, again, let's challenge perspectives. Let's get interactive. I'm going to do it live one of these days. I don't know when, probably another week or two. I'm going to do it live. I'm going to post it before I do it. And we're going to talk about this. I want questions. I want my perspective challenged. I want to see what you think. Do we think throwing people in jail is key? Do you think that's the answer? Depending, even just taking emotion out of it, thinking about how heinous the crime is, rapes, sexual assaults, murder, elderly women get attacked, beat down, whatever the situation is, can that person be helped? When you take the emotion out of it, when you study the research for yourself and look at prisons, do you think that person that committed the crime can be rehabilitated and brought back into society? Or do you think they should not? They should stay in jail. They may, and also taking into consideration the time they may get, because they may get 3-4 years. They may get 5. They may get 1, 2, and they might go to probation for 2-3 years. That individual's back on the street. So if the person that did it impacted you, how would you feel about that? How can we change that? Do you think people need to be in there longer? And if so, how can we present the idea to pass a law to get that stuff situated? So think about all this stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? I challenge you to change this year. I want to challenge folks' perspectives. You know what I'm saying? Let's make it count. Again, you know what I'm saying? Those are new. Just check out the page. I did Inspirational Quote Wednesdays. I'm going to do it every 2 weeks instead of 1 week at a time. I do every 2 weeks. I just did one on the title called Fear. Check it out. It's on SoundCloud. It's also on the page. I'm going to move it over to the Rebuilding Community Trust page. I'm going to post a little Bootsy. I listen to him a lot, Vlad TV, and he talks about prisons, and he talks about the effect that it had on him and on everyone around him, and how the fact that he feels the jails are messed up because, there's no rehabilitation, or it's not good enough to help those get a job. And if the people that go through the effort to be rehabilitated, they should be able to come out and get some type of work. That's what his opinion is. And again, what do you think about that? Do you think felons should be hired? Can you trust a felon? If you're a business owner, do you feel like that felons can be trusted to work for you or not? Or do you feel like they shouldn't be hired? Do you think they should not get a job? So I appreciate comments. I want comments, and I want people to challenge the perspectives of what's being said. Again, Happy New Year. I appreciate everybody so far tuning in. I'm going to continue to keep putting material out. Maybe the next video will be citizen review boards, unless my perspective is challenged again, and I might go back in there and do another video. I'm going to do some live. I'm going to get with some people very soon. We're going to sit down and do a podcast. We're going to do like a Q&A or debate. We can do a debate, and it'll be a live debate, and we can post it. And again, it's about challenging perspective this year. So check out the material. Still working on merchandise. Again, people, it's there for you. If you want to order, it's not going to be expensive. I'm going to have some new designs. I'm going to try to post them soon. Please support, you know what I'm saying? So you can spread the message, empowerment. So I appreciate anybody's comments, and I hope everyone enjoys their day. Be blessed.